So let me just drill a little deeper here. Are you sure you're not just a driven person? I mean, without this support, without this daily contact with your buddy, maybe you'd have created this stuff anyway. I mean, you've got brothers and sisters. Some of those are very successul, aren't they?
Yeah, and they are. Maybe we have quite a. My dad had quite a work ethic, and of course, there may be that question. Just I don't know, Tim. I don't know. Would I have done it anyway? My gut feeling is I wouldn't. My gut feeling is that I would not have had the willingness to go through my comfort zone.
I can remember some of the challenges you've come up against. I can remember when everybody was suddenly getting into computerized music. I can remember when sampling was becoming everywhere. It wasn't something that had a massive barrier to entry, and there were lots of young composers starting out. And I can remember also when you had to make a switch. I think it was from documentary to children's. I think a lot of those could have defeated me, actually. Again, if I hadn't had some kind of support behind me to keep at it.
Yeah, and I think that setting those goals, because one we haven't talked about is on the task sheet is I have weekly, monthly, and yearly goals, and being clear about what and setting those goals and going for those goals has meant that it's been just this it's often it's not the hare, it is the tortoise. It's just slowly crawling towards it, and then I look back on my task sheets and I think oh goodness, the steps that I've taken, they may have gone little, but it is a curve up to doing the things I want to do. And I kind of I genuinely don't think that I would have created if I hadn't done that course in the first place, for instance, I don't think I would have moved to London.
I know you meet lots of young musicians who have the point of view that, gosh, there's no money in music. You're making money from music. I'd like to be like you. How can I do it? I mean, I wonder if you would recommend people to use support, use agreements, and if so, what tips you'd have for them in how to work with a buddy, for example.
I would absolutely recommend that people use support and use agreements. I also think that it's having a buddy. It is great because it's a very lonely place starting out, and it's very easy to kind of to feel like it's all too much, and there's all that sort of stuff. Having someone behind you just saying, "Go for it. You can do it. You've made this agreement. You said you're going to do this little thing. Just do it. That's really powerful, because it is such a lonely place, and it can feel very, very daunting."
Now, I love music, and I love children's television. I love film. I love Pixar.
Yeah.
Goodness. And so it's tough for me to bring you back to the task sheet, and I could go and talk about this all day. But I want to ask you though first of all, would it be okay if you would send me your task sheet or a template of one, and just so we could put it on the website and people can have a look at what it looks like. I mean, that would be great. And also, I'm rather inspired from talking to you today, Sandy, and I think I'd like to get back to using a task sheet in the business. I have done it at one time, and I think when the kids came along and suddenly I was slightly running on empty resources wise and doing the minimum. I think that the elaborate long lists and to-do lists that I wrote in my 20s kind of went out the window, and the task sheet idea probably went with that. But it has been, it seems that, you don't just write what's this week, but you're keeping on there what's coming up on the horizon. Maybe even what you've done in the past, I suppose, and what you've
and also don't make the task sheets overcomplicated. I only have 2 or 3 tasks a day on it. If you make it so that you look at it and you think, oh my goodness, that's overwhelming. The truth is, you won't do it. No, so you have to be realistic about goals and the tasks you set, and that's why I'm saying it's little steps, to a bigger picture. And if otherwise you're just setting yourself up to fail.
Okay, well, listen, I think I'm almost at the is there anything else I should have asked you point of the interview. Is there anything else you would like to say to people who might be considering either embarking on a journey of setting goals using support or not doing that?
I think that one of the things is finding a buddy who also genuinely believes in the value of support. And for me that's quite important. Because if I had a buddy and I was very aware that my buddy wasn't doing any of it, wasn't doing the agreements, wasn't keeping, that would be tough. So I think finding a buddy who is focused and willing to keep agreements, and and also be understanding of what support looks like. What is
So I gave the whole first part of the book, The Power of Audience, is dedicated to why support makes a difference, and why we need it. And I know for a lot of people they're going to really struggle with that actually self-discipline is enough. We shouldn't need this kind of thing. We should be able to do it all on our own. That's our goal in life, is to be self-independent, self-reliant. Why would you need all this stuff? I hope, at least I've put a lot of energy into finding ways for people to look at that differently. So I hope that can help. And there's the Buddy Boot Camp is on the site as well. So that's in condensed, easy to chew off form as well. And we'll put the task sheet then, if you're willing, with the task sheet up on the website, and the course you've mentioned a couple of times is called Waking Up Weekend these days, and we'll put a link on that as well if people are curious to what you've been talking about in that relation. So thank you very much for taking so much time today.
You're cool.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you.